Hi there, welcome to Bottled Up. I am Lou.
Hi, John.
This is the last in a series. We're doing the overall banner at the moment is clarification, so we're actually taking things and making sure that they're understandable to you.
Yep.
And this is the acronym LOVE, and this is E. We've got two, and this is encourage and praise any attempts at change.
Yeah.
So kind of the V was valuing who they were. This, in a way, is valuing what they are trying to do in terms of the changes that they're putting in place.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
So anything that they are doing. Now, we'll talk about disappointment in a minute, because you'll be thinking about what you've been through.
Yeah.
But remember, there is a point where your drinker is in touch with the fact that they don't really want to be this way. And that's the window of change. That's when they start thinking that they're going to kind of do things differently.
Yeah.
For the binger, it's often at the end of a binge, but I think if you're drinking steadily, there are still flash moments of clarification, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely. There's lots of moments of tomorrow I'm going to be different.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's going to be different. I mean, I remember one guy saying he sort of consoled himself by saying, "This is me today, but it won't be tomorrow." And that's how he looked at it. Yeah, fine.
So, what your biggest barrier to this is cynicism, isn't it? Because we want recovery to be something that goes like this, but it never is, or very rarely. Recovery is like this, and often it's fair enough to say sometimes we get worse to get to the point where we get better.
We do.
Now, just to say a little bit about that. I know
Can I just say something a wee bit different before I'll come back to it?
Yeah.
I think what we have to say is that if we believe that change is all or nothing, then there's not an awful lot to encourage unless the person is just becoming abstinent.
That's a good point.
So we kind of need to look for even small changes, and sometimes a small change would be just what we're talking about there, at least starting to talk about change. That's a first step on the way to change. Years ago, there's a model of change that kind of changed how we thought about things in recovery, and this model of change started off by saying there are various sort of stations along the way.
Sure.
And the first one they called a pre-contemplator. Wasn't even thinking about change, but the next one was a contemplator.
Okay.
Then there was a preparer, and then there was a changer.
Okay, so you're saying it happens by degrees.
It happens by degrees.
Yes.
People don't just go, right, change. They tend to sort of ease into it. Other changes can be, they're actually drinking less, or they're less often, or whatever, and other ones can be going to the doctor, going to AA meetings, so there can be lots of different things happening along the way, and it's worth looking out for.
Okay, as someone who's lived with a drinker, your greatest temptation here will be not to use that point of change to capitalise on what you've been trying to ram home for a long time. See how nice this is. Yeah. Now we've done that. If only you weren't drinking, then we could, So that's not encouragement. It's actually kind of criticism.
Depends how it's done.
Yeah.
It can be encouragement.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about optimising your time when they're sober, and it's about highlighting.
All right, but what I'm actually saying, though, is not doing it in that way.
Yeah.
Actually doing it to make a point about how bad it is the rest of the time.
You can use them to beat the more.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yes. Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is don't use the opportunity to... You kind of throw me a bit now.
In a kind of cynical way.
Yeah.
In a cynical and in almost sarcastic way.
Yes, so encouragement can actually pop up and be something quite different.
Oh, absolutely. It can do, And you're right. Well, that was great, wasn't it?
Yes.
doesn't feel like you're encouraging me at the moment. You know.
Okay.
So
The other thing is, I know that disappointment is a real killer on this particular strategy with love. And it is very hard when you've really put your hope in the change. Put your hope in the process, not in the steps that the change is taking. Because if you get too tied up with the step, then you may derail that step. What I'm actually saying is that change, as he will tell you, he did his master's on change, didn't you?
doctorate.
Yeah, your doctorate on change. Change comes in so many different increments that actually you're looking at the big picture, not the small picture. Now, say a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at it change as black and white, then that's very. I mean, sit on a beach in the dark and watch the sun come up, and there's all these different colours. You know, light changes. You know, and it's not sort of, you know, dark light. It's kind of grey, and then it's beautiful, and then, you know, there's all sorts of colours come up before the sun is actually up, and that change can be like that.
Yeah.
Change can be like the sun coming up in the tropics. If you've ever been there, it just goes, now it's down, now it's up, you know. But mostly it's that sort of slow, gradual burn.
Yeah.
The other thing is that research suggests that, you know, people make about 7 attempts at change before they're actually successful.
Oh, right, okay.
On average.
Yeah.
On average, you know. It comes from smoking, drinking, drug use, you know. And think about how many times, you know, you have tried to go on a diet, you've tried to take up exercise, you've tried, do you know what I mean? And you'll see that these sort of things happen.
Absolutely. And you yourself, if you kind of told your partner that you're going to go down the gym every day, you know, and after a few weeks you realise you're only going every other day, for your partner to come along and say, you said you were going every day, you're not doing very well, actually won't make us think, oh, I must go back to doing it. We just, that does not motivate you in the slightest. You know,
Change is not easy.
Yeah.
It's very, very possible,
Yes.
you know, but it's not easy.
Yeah. Okay. So again, everybody loves affirmation and encouragement. The soul thrives on encouragement and affirmation, and there's so little of it around, and then with social media there's a lot of negativity. So use it. Again, it's another weapon. Encouragement, affirmation is a very powerful emotional weapon for good, for change.
When I'm sort of helping drinkers along the way, what I try to put in place is milestones, you know. And one of the things I use, a very, very simple thing, is just get, you know, big calendar, you know, the one that shows, you know, a month at a time. And I tell them to put a cross in it. A red cross if they drank, green cross if they didn't, you know, and you start to see them sort of building up. You know, and they actually get encouragement from that themselves. You know, you see if you've got a line of sort of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green crosses, you know, and the more that you get, the less you want to break it. You know, and it's things like that. Try to put milestones in place, trying to find things that, you know, people can say, oh, right, yeah, something has changed. Okay, we haven't got all the way yet, but we've got that. You know, it's a bit like going for a sort of slimming club, you know. Okay, I haven't got down to my target weight, but I am moving in that direction. You know, it's looking at things like that, looking at things that you can encourage. And, you know, and affirmation, it works really well. Think about it when somebody praises you, you know. How do you feel about that? You think, oh, yeah, must be more of that. And that's exactly what it's like with a drinker.
Yeah. An example of that for me would be that I worked, you know, pled for a long time for my drinker to drink in the bedroom and not right in the middle of the lounge where it causes absolute chaos. So the first time he actually took himself away to the bedroom, now I could have just said, well, he's drinking anyway, so I'm not going to say anything nice to him. But obviously, I said to him, thank you so much for doing that. It makes such a difference. Was I endorsing the drinking? Absolutely not. But I was endorsing the fact that he was taking a step to thinking about us, not just thinking about himself. And in that journey, that was a really big step for him. So again, one step at a time. I use the analogy of being in a car. That this is the sort of journey that you get in a city, and if you're going in a car in a city trying to get somewhere all the time, you're going left, you're going right, you're going round in a roundabout. So what you see is not where you're going. It just happens to be what you're looking at as you're going it. And it's one of those journeys. Don't look at what you're seeing. Just keep going, applying the program, doing the things that, we can tell you are more likely to work than some of the things that you've been doing. And actually just concentrate on, if you like, driving the car in the best way that you possibly can.
I think one of the most difficult things is when they fall back off the wagon again.
It really is.
That really is difficult.
Yeah.
And it's difficult not to get really cynical. It's difficult not to get really disappointed, really down about it, and really angry about it. And yeah, I totally agree. It's really, really difficult. But the positive to take out of that is look what you did before you fell off the wagon.
Yeah.
I use that like proof of, you can do this because you did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, and we kind of get into our own little version of this in our diet, don't we? Because we usually do Slimming World diet, which is very healthy. But if we're not careful, if one of us blows it, then the other person joins in, and then we blow it even more. Yeah. But if one of us can stand our ground... You're
not having a bar of chocolate if I'm not having one.
But if we stand our ground a bit, then we encourage the person up, rather than both of us jumping down.
This is what mutual health groups are all about.
Absolutely.
AA is there. They encourage people, keep coming. I've done it, you can do it.
Yeah.
You did this. That's why I was talking to somebody the other day and he said he got a 24-hour chip, at an AA meeting. I thought, 24? But that's where they got to, They're giving them something to hold. You've got a 24-hour chip. That's his affirmation, I mean, this is all sort of behaviourism. This was how, Pavlov and his dogs, they give them meat. I train pigeons. How? They give them something to eat. But in humans, affirmation is the thing that works. Praise, encouragement, all of that.
And can I just say,
it works.
Yeah, it works in life, not just with drinking.
Yeah.
I would encourage you. I would encourage you to be thankful, to be encouraging, and to be affirming to the people around you, because actually it will make their day a much better day if you can do that. And again, we feel so much better about ourselves if we're behaving in a way that we know makes us a kind of a good and decent
You think
being.
if you go into a shop and the person behind the counter is smiling and saying, "Hello, it's lovely to see you," how does it make you feel? Or you go into, "What are you wanting?"
Yeah, well, no, I'm staying in here, I'm getting out. So.
Which shop are you going back to?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's just, it's not rocket science, But again, it's not easy to do when you're angry.
And just finally, be encouraging and affirming to each other. We do encourage you, to not dump your anger. If you have to, if you're really feeling you're just oversteamed, come on the forum, just say what you're going to do, just saying, I need to dump because I'm so furious. And again, affirm each other, just say we understand, it's so hard not to be angry. Let's just be encouraging and affirming with each other all along the way.
Accentuate the positive, as the old song says.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to stop now because he might break into song and you really don't need that.
No, you really don't need that. No.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back again. We'll probably do Hope. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.